What's up, everybody? So you're probably wondering what this is. It's a quirky looking little sort of bug eye alien looking thing, but these are lights, Rizoma lights to be exact, and they are mounted inside a special Delrin housing, and this is going to replace the taillight assembly and side marker assembly for the 2019 Honda Monkey. These are very interesting, and they're made by MNNTHBX, MNNTHBX.com. Obviously, it's a company that I'm pretty fond of at this point, as you can probably tell. But this was a part that I sought out at first, and I talked to them about it. I got their rear fender, the rear fender license plate delete kit, and with it, I thought about this for a while. I didn't pull the trigger on it at first with the license plate bracket. So after realizing that everything was just too big back there and it just didn't look right proportionate wise, I decided to pull the trigger on this, and today we're going to go ahead and install it. But I'll tell you a little bit more about it first. Okay, so we're looking at the product page on the MNNTHBX website. It's called the Monkey Tail Classic for Honda Monkey 125. And as I was telling you before, there's tons of options here. So my option, I think, was the Monkey Classic mount and add the integrated LED Rizomas. What the problem was is that there was not an option to add posi taps when you just chose the LED Rizomas, because I already had the plate mount, and the plate mount is the only option with the posi taps. Also, too, this is good to note, custom LED electronic flasher for the Honda Monkey. You pretty much need one of these too, and I got one of those as well, just in case. We'll try it without it. I think the difference is that it'll make your lights flash really fast, so we don't want that. So the first step's to remove the rear fender, and that's going to involve a different segment of this manual. So I don't really know why we need to remove the rear fender, but I'll take a look. Maybe I can get around it. Then it says disconnect the following: brake tail light connector, rear turn signal light wire connectors, left turn signal light wire connectors. And remove the following: cap nuts, collars, brake and tail light unit, rubber packing, and grommets. The installation is a reverse order of removal. I've already got the inner fender liner off with my license plate bracket. That's pretty cut and dry. It's just two little push pins up towards the front and just a couple of bolts. So no need to really go over that. It's already off the bike. You can figure that out on your own. And if you're doing this, you've probably already taken off the big plastic fender license plate holder there. So what we're going to do is just try to get this whole taillight unit off here as easy as possible. So here's what it says to do. I don't know if it'll shake out that way, but let's dig into it and see. So basically the plan of attack here, we're just going to disconnect these connectors. Then we're going to go ahead and remove these cap nuts. So this is what we're looking at after you get the taillight off. There's a special edge grommet there, and then you have the three provisions for that taillight housing. And to me, this is the issue with deleting the taillight. So we can delete that taillight, and you're left with an ugly thing here, and it's got to be covered up with something. So European models do a great job. They put a circle light here and then the two side markers next to it. The MNNTHBX solution takes care of this by creating the plastic D-shaped cover piece to go over it, and it'll probably use this same grommet as well. So we're going to keep that with the fender. So let's go take a look at the taillight and the wiring that's involved with this. Okay, so here's the contents of the Man-in-the-Box tail classic edition for the Monkey. This is a special CNC Delrin plastic piece that is going to go over the void that is going to be left in the fender from the existing taillight. And what it does is it utilizes these Rizoma lights, which are apparently really bright. So while small, super bright, and very, very small. So while a unique setup, and it's a little bit eccentric, I wasn't quite sure about it at first, but looking at the assembly and the stock assembly that's on there, I really don't see any way to do it to where it, looks clean without having a fender that doesn't have the holes in it for the existing taillight. So until somebody comes up with a replacement fender that doesn't have the big holes in it from the existing taillight, I think this is about as clean as you're going to get. And I like the idea of downsizing everything. So making it a lot slimmer, and some super bright, really tiny tail lights and brake lights, turn signals is pretty cool. So this is basically it. Comes with 2 Rizoma lights. I have the box opened here, and these I believe are flasher resistors, because you're going from traditional bulb to LED, so it's going to react different in the speeds. But we also picked up the LED flasher relay from Man-in-the-Box at the same time, so that should take care of the LED conversion. Cool things about the factory manuals are they come with wiring diagrams. So I have an idea of how this should be hooked up by the information on the Man-in-the-Box product page in which I bought it from. However, it's cool to just verify here on this diagram. So we'll look at the brake and the tail light first. You're going to have a black, a green, and a green-yellow wire in that connector going to the brake and tail light. So the turn signals both have a common green wire between them, which is going to tell me that's the negative side of that circuit, and the other 2 wires are different between the two, so that's going to tell me that's the 12-volt side of that circuit. Then you're going to have, it's a light blue wire for the right rear and an orange wire for the left rear. We have the green, OEM left is green on the plug, and that's going to go to the black. This is common between the two, so that's going to go to the black on the Rizoma. And the green and the yellow that goes to the taillight, so that's going to go to the red. The black is only going to the taillight, and that's going to go to the white on the Rizoma. And then you see the orange and the blue will go to the green on the Rizoma. So with that knowledge, we can go ahead and attack the connections on this and get it fired up. So the reinstallation of this should be pretty simple. The Man-in-the-Box assembly, instead of having studs that go through like the factory assembly, these just have threaded provisions inside. So pretty straightforward. So we'll just thread the wires through, and then we'll go underneath the fender and thread the supplied Allen bolts. Probably M6 or something bolts here, and we'll tighten it all up. Alright, so we got it all wired up, and while pretty straightforward per the instructions, I have the Bazaz fuel controller on here, and the Bazaz takes its power from the taillight plug and then intercepts it, and then this is where you'd plug in your taillight plug after the fact, after your Bazaz is hooked up. So that added a little bit of complexity into the project. Black wires go to the green wires on the turn signals from the Rizoma. Black wires on the Rizoma go to the green on the turn signals, and the green on the left and right Rizomas go to corresponding left and rights on the factory harness. So that was pretty easy because those connectors just went right into the factory plugs. And I did reroute the factory plugs through the top of this boot here to get them all in the same spot, so that was a little bit of a pain too. moving on to the power for the tail light. This is a bit of a pain. So basically you take the white wires from the Rizoma and combine them into the posi lock, and then I had to tap in to the 12 volt source, which is going to be the green with yellow on the taillight plug. The posi taps were a bit tough because there's not much wire to work with. I could have cut away the sheath a little bit and made it easier, but yeah, I struggled through it and I got it. So it all works. I tested it. So what I'm going to do is tuck it all back up in here, and then we'll show you how it works. It looks pretty cool. Alright, so we have everything back on the bike. Everything's connected. It works. And I'm going to show you the operation of it right now, and you're going to notice something about it, and we'll explain what that is after you see it. So you turn it on, and you see this is the regular red running lights. So we'll press the brake, and those lights get brighter. We try the turn signals, and you see how fast that is? That's because we don't have the turn signal relay in there yet. What that means is the switch to the LEDs are going to make things go faster. This is it's not a big deal. I bought the turn signal flasher relay with this kit, and what I found out was the part that really sucks is that the turn signal flasher relay is underneath the gas tank. So basically the right way to do that is to take the gas tank off to change that relay. So that kind of sucks because I looked through the directions and you have to disconnect fuel lines and relieve pressures and all sorts of not so fun stuff. So I'm going to see if I can't get a peek at it and maybe reach under there and sneak it out and make this job a lot easier. Okay, so thankfully I figured out a way to cheat the system and not have to take the gas tank off. And I'll tell you how I did this. Essentially you take the seat off, which is easy, just 2 bolts, and you take the 12mm bolt holding the back of the tank down, and then you start to wiggle it around to move it back a little bit. And your biggest restrictions of what's holding the tank is going to be the fuel line right here, which goes into this loom, and this vent line, which I know is a vent line because it plumbs into the intake that I had to install. I had to work with this line already. So basically there you have the 2 things that are holding the gas tank up. So once you take this tube off, this gas tank will be allowed to move up and you can gain access to the relay, which is right here. The little part that says push is in fact true, but you just have to work around a bit because there's a pretty sharp little hook on the relay here. So you got to mess with it for a little while to get it out. And once you get that out, we're going to go ahead and I believe just substitute in our new relay. And this does not have the mounting tab that just slips on like the stock one. However, it looks like there's a hole here that you could probably use to mount it to that tab, because that tab also has a hole in it too. So we're going to try it out first and see if it works, and then figure out a way to mount it in here. Okay, so you can see that I simply just took a 10mm bolt that was short enough and the 10mm nut and used the hole in the relay through the hole in the mounting tab for the OEM relay. So I just basically bolted it down to that tab. I think that's going to be good enough, and we'll go ahead and put the gas tank back on. I tested the lights and they do work, so we're good to go. And once I button this up, that's going to complete the install. And you see, these are extremely bright LEDs too. I know they advertise this, and it is 100% true. So you have your basic running lights and your brake lights, and then we'll go ahead and check the turn signals, and this is the rate in which they should flash. So that is good. You see it's the same as the front light. We are going to change these front lights to the Man-in-the-Box Rizoma style, just like that too. So we'll have matching front and rears. And you see the rate is correct again on the right side. So everything was okay. My wiring was correct. And so a little bit of a pain, but not bad in the grand scheme of things. So at the end of the project, my observations are a little bit of clarity and a little bit of unexpected trickiness. But so one thing that I would probably go back and forth between, I tried it both ways, but this rubber grommet from the OEM assembly doesn't hug up real tight against the mounting block for these taillights. So I tried it without it, and it looked much better, and it fit the fender perfect. So I didn't even think that there was a need for the grommet until I looked at the website and saw that they were using it in their product pictures. So I kept it on there. Also because I'm going to be going into this weekend and there's supposed to be rain. So I know the bike's going to get wet. And with that, this will seal the assembly. Although I don't really think too much would get too wet in there. But being that I don't have the weather tight plug on there yet and it's just a posit tap, I think I want to try to keep as much water out as possible. So looks wise, it's an interesting little piece. It definitely gets rid of the whole debacle back there that you call a tail light. The 2 or 3 out there that like it, you guys are lucky, because this is it's a tough project, and I see the clarity in the project as the Man-in-the-Box guys had to design something that probably worked with this rubber grommet. So that's where they got that shape from, or else they would have had to make a new grommet and a whole new footprint for this block. So I imagine that was probably a pretty tough task. So they came up with this unique little piece, and it's really slim, really lightweight. That's good because I like pushing this bike to its limits. So the less weight that I can carry, the better. I'm probably the biggest weight problem of the bike, but that's a different story. So I like the slimness of it. The profile is real small. The pictures make it look bigger, but it's really not big. It's very, very small, and I think it's pretty neat at the end, and it's definitely something that grows on you. When I first saw it on the website, I was a little skeptical, and like I said, I held off on it. But now having it on the bike, it blends in, so it goes with the line of the fender. And the little bullet tail lights are pretty cool too. So I think it's a win. And we're going to have some fun with the bike this weekend. And I know for sure that everybody behind me is going to be able to see me because those lights are bright. So that's good. All right, so I'm going to sign off here. Thanks for watching. And check out my other videos. We're doing a lot of stuff on this bike. A lot of fun stuff. And I'm going to do a video for the front side markers, the same as the rear. Hopefully that's a little bit easier, which I gotta imagine it will be. So with that, thanks for watching, and I appreciate all the comments, all the support, and the thumbs up, even the thumbs down if you don't like it. Feedback is good. Tell me what I can do better. Tell me what I'm doing good. Tell me what you want to see with the bike. I know some of you guys don't like me messing with the bike, but that's not going to change my mind. So tell me anyways. I don't care. It's cool to hear everybody's opinions. So thanks, and I hope you guys have been enjoying the ride.